places of the sunny south, of which, like other people, I had witnessed highly colored, dissolving views. Therefore, I accepted the bluff old captain's hospitality, signed the ship's papers in a back office off Leadenhall Street, and on a Saturday evening boarded as black, grimy, and forbidding a craft as ever dropped down the Thames. Job Seitel was right. The Thrush was not by any means a liner, and its passenger accommodation was restricted. My cabin was very small, very stuffy, and very dirty, just as might be expected of a Mediterranean tramp steamer. As the outward cargo was invariably Cardiff steam coal consigned to the well-known firms of Messrs. Agius of Naples and Malta, there was over everything a fine layer of coal dust, while the faces of both officers and crew seemed ingrained with black. The first day out, I confess that I did not feel over well. A light vessel and a choppy sea are never pleasant to a landsman. Nevertheless, I very soon got my sea legs, and then the voyage down the Channel was pleasant enough. It was the end of June, and the salt breezes were gratifying after the stuffy back streets of Stepney. Before my advent, Job Seitel was in the habit of eating alone in his cabin, because he was an omnivorous reader, and the chatter of his officers disturbed him. He welcomed me, however, as a companion. Max Pemberton, Conan Doyle, and Heine he swore by, and in one corner of his cabin he had whole stacks of sixpenny reprints. The first day out, I rather regretted my hasty decision to sail with him, but ere we sighted Lundy Island and Penarth, I was as merry and eager to smoke as any of his villainous-looking crew. After 4 days' loading in Cardiff, the vessel was an inch deep in coal dust, and as the heavy, swearing hands in the forecastle began cleaning up, we slowly glided out of the Butte docks to the accompaniment of shouting, gesticulating, and strong language. At Seal's suggestion, I had provided myself with certain articles of food to my taste, but as the grit of coal and the taste of tar were inseparable from the cuisine, and the cook's galley the most evil-smelling corner in the whole vessel, I enjoyed eating least of all. The weather was, however, perfect, even in the long roll of the Atlantic, and the greater part of each day I spent with the burly skipper on his bridge, lolling in an old deck chair behind a screen of canvas lashed to the rail to keep off the wind. I had quite a cozy corner to myself, and there I smoked my pipe, breathed the salt ocean breezes, and yarned with my deep-chested friend. "We don't carry 40-quid salooners on this here boat," remarked Joe Thorpe, the first mate, when I mentioned casually that the rats gnawed my boots at night and scampered around my cabin and over my buck. "When a passenger comes with us, he has to rough it, but he sees a sight more than if he traveled by the P&O or the Orient. You'll see a lot, Doctor, before you're back in London." His words were prophetic. I did see a lot, as you will gather later on. Craft and crew were, as I have said, as forbidding as can well be imagined. The vessel was black, save for a dirty red band around her funnel, old, rickety, and much patched. On the second day out from Cardiff, Mike Flanagan, the first engineer, imparted to me the disconcerting fact that the boilers were in such a state that he feared to work them at any undue pressure, lest we might all take an unwelcome flight into space. Hence at night, when I lay in my bunk, sleepless, owing to the dirty weather in the Bay of Biscay, the jarring of the propeller caused my medical mind to revert to the instability of those boilers and the probability of catastrophe. I am not a seafaring man, but I have often since wondered in what class the Thrush might have been entered at Lloyd's. Day followed day, and after we sighted Finisterre, the weather became delightful again. Seitel told me long yarns of his younger days in the Pacific trade, how he had been wrecked off the Tasmanian coast, and how on another occasion the steamer on which he had sailed was burned at sea. The dreamy hours passed lazily. We ate together, laughed together, and at night drank big noggins of rum together. Cape St. Vincent loomed up in the haze one brilliant evening, and afterwards the great rock of Gibraltar. Then, on entering the Mediterranean, we steered a straight course for that long, sun-blanched town with a high lighthouse lying at the foot of the blue Apennines, Leghorn.